Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica. This video is going to be a cozy plan with me as I get set up in my Ritual Planner Tarot Journal for 2023. I've been excited to do this ever since it first arrived, so it is a little bit early, but I can't wait any longer. If you saw my planner flip through video, I'll link it in the description. You will have seen this gorgeous tarot and astrology planner workbook hybrid. I've never used a pre-printed tarot journal before, but this one looks so good I had to give it a try. It's not the cheapest planner on the market, so be warned, if you do fancy buying it, you might need to be sitting down when you see the price. I'm actually an ambassador for them now, which means you can get 15% off all of their products if you use the link and code in the description box. They make undated and digital versions of this planner and a 1 card a day edition if 3 cards seems too many. The digital planners are also less spendy than the physical version. I have started to move more into digital planning this year, but I'm still analog as far as my tarot practice is concerned. So in this video, I'm setting up my physical tarot journal. I decided to skip the intro page for now and go straight to the year ahead spread. It's a little bit different from how I normally approach a year ahead, so I kind of did a blend of what I usually do, which is to pull a card for each month. Sometimes I pull 2 cards for each month, sometimes 4 cards for each month. But I went with 1 card for each month because that was the format that was laid out in this planner. And they also sort of allowed for like 1 card for a year ahead, but I decided to do my normal thing and pull like 4 cards from different decks for that whole kind of theme for the year ahead. And I'm using stamps here. These aren't actually the Ritual stamps. Ritual do make amazing tarot and astrology stamps, but they were actually out of stock when I was looking to get some tarot stamps. So I found these ones on Amazon. Well, actually somebody pointed them out to me on Amazon and gave me the link. So I'll link these ones down below. They're not quite as like aesthetic as the Ritual's own version, but you know, they do the job and they're significantly cheaper, so you know, you can decide what would be the best option for you if you want tarot stamps. And also if you know of any others, then let me know as well. So I'm using the Sufi Tarot, which is a newish deck for me. I've been starting to use that deck in November mainly, and carrying on with it now in this moon cycle and this month as well, and really loving it. So I decided to use it for my year ahead, which is quite unusual for me for to use a newish deck for a year ahead spread. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving the imagery and the descriptions in the book and everything as well. So I decided to go with it. I had some really interesting cards as well. So I started to write some of them down and I used the stamps to kind of fill in the thing, but I'm going to definitely go back and add more to that. And then I used another new deck, which is the Astrology, what's it called? Astro Herbal deck by Adriana Ayales. I'll link all these things in the description as well because I'm probably saying the things wrong. And I used the Illustrated Crystallary deck by Maya Toll and the Sacred Mothers and Goddesses as well to pull 2 cards from. So those are my like 4 energy of the year cards, and it's looking to be an interesting year, kind of like a sort of 2-half year. Like I'm obviously working on like boundaries and sharpness, protection, things like that were coming out for me very strongly. But then there was also like a thread of like creativity and healing as well, which is coming through. So that's really interesting, especially when I relate it back to like my astrology for the year as well, when I'm working with like a Mercury 9th house stuff for the first part of the year until my birthday in June, and then switching over to 10th house moon related stuff in that second part of the year. So yeah, it's really interesting. I did print out those cards. I used the tarot stamps for like doing the whole wheel business, but I decided to print out because I wanted the actual imagery of the cards that I pulled for the 4 kind of energy of the year cards. So I've got like a little sprocket printer, which, you know, like it is handy, but it's not like amazing. Just sometimes like it's a little bit temperamental sometimes, and I think there are other options now. But I will link that in the description if you're interested as well. I like to print it out when I'm doing my tarot journal, so I have like actual pictures sometimes of the cards too. I know if you're digital journaling, you know, you can just kind of stick them straight in, which is a cool aspect of the digital journaling. But I don't know, there's something still about the analog that I love. So I decided, to keep kind of printing them out. And you can just print them out as well, can't you? You could just stick them on like a sheet of paper and print them out just on normal paper if you want to. I do that too sometimes, but the like kind of shiny stickers are very handy in some aspects for the tarot planning. Things I really like about the Ritual planner is the size of it. So it's like bigger than A4, and that meant that there was quite a lot of space to journal, like obviously not loads of space, and I will go more deeply into each of these cards as I go through the month as well. And I think there is space for that actually in the months as well, for you to kind of dive more deeply into the card for the month. But like, you can always add extra pages and stuff as well to do it. But I felt like there was enough room for me to just write down the cards and kind of like the main keywords and things which came out for me for each of them as I went along. I loved it that for January as well, I pulled the Four of Swords, which, you know, is not normally like a card that you really want to be pulling. But like, when you do a year ahead spread, I find, you know, you've got to accept that some of the cards, some of the months are maybe not going to be as fun, let's say, as some of the others, you know. So like, that's how life and years unfold, isn't it? So I kind of like that idea of a quieter month for January, and then also another quieter month for July, where I pulled the Hermit as well. So many mages I had from like my birthday, which I thought was really interesting. I'm also finishing off the year with 2 Queens in a row, which I thought was really like quite interesting as well. So yeah, it looks to be quite a big year for me, and I journaled like a little tiny bit, and like I said, I'll go back in and do more with that. And I also wrote down on the page, which actually has this sort of graphics for the cards where I use the stamps and stuff, some keywords of things that kind of jumped out for me. But I didn't go into the guidebook and read the guidebook entry for the cards while I was doing this kind of first setup, but I will definitely do that, and I'm sure I will be adding more words as I go along as well. I think I might use a different color actually and go back in and do some more with that as I go through and like read the guidebook descriptions, because I find that it really gives like another layer of depth. You know, I've got my own like first impressions of the cards, and like I said, this is a deck which is much more new for me, so I don't know it as well as I do with some other decks, but yeah, I think that's going to add a whole another level. And then next I decided to go and do the astrology pages. I wasn't sure if I was going to like use this, because like, I've been working with astrology for a really long time now, and I know my chart really, really well. And I didn't feel like I would get a lot out of filling in my chart again here and sort of like just writing out the bits and bobs of it. Like, I totally understand why it's there, because I know a lot of people are kind of learning that. And there's some really helpful pages in the planner kind of describing the different astrology and tarot as well, like information in there too. But I decided to do it a little bit differently, because I thought, what would actually be useful for me to have here as someone who's like kind of a bit more knowledgeable about astrology, a bit more kind of like on point with it, I suppose, is that I wanted to have my solar return chart. So I decided to do my solar return chart for 2022, because that's the one that I'll be working with as I go into 2023, because your solar return chart runs from like around your birthday, because it's the time when the sun returns to the same spot as it is on your birthday when you were born. So I put the one for 2022 on the one page and one for 2023 on the other page. And I always find this when I draw out charts, it's like, you can look at charts and be like, oh yes, I noticed this, yes, I noticed this, and then and then when you actually like draw, like I didn't actually even draw the chart, did I? I'm like writing it onto like a pre-printed chart here, but by like filling it actually in, physically filling it in on the chart, it makes you notice things that you do, or maybe it's just me, I notice things then that I can more easily miss if I just look at the chart that I've like printed off astro.com or something. So yeah, I think it is valuable. Like, I've drawn out my own birth chart loads of times, but if you haven't drawn out your birth chart and you bought this planner and you would think, oh, maybe I'll just like stick a copy of my birth chart in, or maybe I won't use these pages or whatever. But I would really like encourage you to actually draw, you know, like fill it in, because there's like an extra bit of like practical magic that happens when you do that physical writing out, drawing out, that you're like, oh yeah, look at that. Which I think, you know, is easy to miss when you're just kind of printing out your chart. So yeah, I'm using my honeycomb planner, because they already had pre-printed solar return charts in there, but you can easily like generate a solar return chart off any of the sites that do, oh sorry, my computer's beeping. You can generate solar return charts off any of the places that you get charts and stuff from. Now I do mine on astro.com usually, but I don't have to now because I've got my honeycomb, so so that's really handy. And yeah, I thought it'd be really cool to have these kind of stuck in here And I haven't like added too much detail or like colouring or anything to them yet. I wasn't sure. I probably will. You know, I do tend to like layer up. And there was definitely something else I wanted to add in. So I've gone to the back pages here where in the Ritual Planner there's some like almost like bullet journal paper, like dot grid paper at the back for you to kind of do your own thing. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if because like the way that this planner works is that every day I'm going to be pulling 3 cards, and then on the full and new moons you also do like a whole reading, and each month you also do like a much more in-depth reading. So I'm going to be pulling a lot of cards, and like I do that in my normal planner, but as it's kind of all in here, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have like an actual tracker so I can see which cards are coming out for me much more often? You know, like just like a kind of tarot tracker. I know people do these like tarot trackers so you can see like your stalker cards and stuff like that. And I've made these before, but I thought I'm going to be pulling a lot of cards here, so it'll be really interesting to just kind of keep track of that, I suppose. Hence making a tarot tracker, duh, you know. So I just kind of split it up. I've got the minors on one page, and then I set up for doing the majors on the other page, because it didn't quite work for me to use the stamps for the majors because there just wasn't enough room to fit them all on one page. So I had to like write out the titles of each of the cards. But I think that's fine. You know, this is just like, it is literally just a tracker. So the fact that it doesn't look super aesthetic doesn't really matter. It's more like being able to find where I am. And what I'm going to do is like choose a different pen color each month. And then when I pull a card, so say like I pull 3 of Pentacles, every time I pull the 3 of Pentacles, I'll colour in with that month's colour the 3 of Pentacles, and then the following month I'll choose a different colour and I'll start colouring in with that different colour, and then I'll be able to see at a glance, you know, just kind of looking at it. It might not last the whole year, obviously it depends. If I pull certain cards loads of times then I'll need to make more pages, but there are more pages, so I can just kind of extend it. But that way I'll be able to see like, oh, okay, that's interesting. These cards are coming out for me a lot this year. I thought this was a, you know, like a really good addition to the ritual. So if you are using it, let me know if you think that's a good idea and whether you're going to do that as well, because I think it is something cool to track. And then I skipped back to the beginning. I don't usually start at the beginning because I find it's just kind of daunting when you're filling in like a pre-printed book. I'm always like, oh, I don't really want it right on the first page, because then you've kind of defaced it in a way. And you know, there's just a lot of pressure, I guess, with that first page. So I went back to it after doing all the rest of the stuff and started to fill it in, and then was like, oh, gross. I don't like how my pen kind of like was running out, the pen that I chose to do my name with and everything. So I do a little bit of tinkering around with this, and I'll probably like do a little bit more to this page as well. But I wanted to have like, obviously like this book belongs to kind of scenario, but also like actually useful information. So I've put down like what the tarot card for 2023 is, which is the Chariot. You know, 2023 cancels down to number 7, which is the card, which is the Chariot. And I also put my cards for the years as well. So that's going from my birthday in June. I'm already working with the Chariot, because the way that my birthday works out is I'm always like half a year ahead of everyone, which I find kind of useful. You know, it's not really like that, is it? But it's like, because when I cancel my birthday down, my month and my year gives me 1, so it's like adding an extra 1 onto the card. So I've been working with the Chariot already since my birthday in June, and when I get to my birthday in June again next year, I'll be working with Strength, which won't be the card of the year until the following year, if you see what I mean. So I wanted to have all that information kind of like on that front page, so it's really easily found. And I thought it was good as well that I've got that extra inside flap of the book. I might end up doing some like kind of like keywords and stuff perhaps on here, or maybe like sticking something in here as well about like my work with those cards of the year. And it'll be interesting to see as well like whether that matches up with, like, I know I've been pulling the Chariot. I'm not actually tracking that at the moment, but I know the Chariot has been coming out for me a lot since my birthday in June. And I wonder if like that will change when I get around to my birthday next year. There we have it. This is my Ritual Planner Tarot Journal setup for 2023. I obviously haven't done anything on these pages, and maybe I'll just like collage over these. This I think could be quite handy to have for like keyword references and things like that. I've got my solar return charts here, and then I've got my year ahead spread, which I'm going to go back and add more stuff in here. I haven't started to fill in January yet because it's obviously like just kind of the first third of December as I'm recording this, so I don't feel quite ready. I will do it before January starts, but I wanted a little bit more time to do that. But I just wanted to show you these pages so you can kind of see how cool this is. So every week I'm going to be pulling these cards, and every time I pull these cards, then I'll be going back to my planner in the back. I put a little paper clip on so that I can find it easily, and like colouring in this purple for January, I'll colour in whatever cards have come out, and I'll be able to see at a glance like which cards have been coming out a lot for me. And you also pull like a general card for this week, which I'll record in there too, and cards for the month, which I'll also record in the back. And I haven't like decided yet my monthly goals and stuff. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on my word of the year and things like that. And talking of word of the year, I was thinking I might have a page for that somewhere in here as well. But then I'm like, oh, but then what stuff is actually going to be going in my tarot, like in my actual journal? Like, is that, how is this all going to fit together? And I think that is where I am at the moment. It's like working out, how does this fit together? How does my, like, using a digital calendar, using Notion, using a paper journal, using a printed tarot journal, how do these things all work together? And I guess the only way I'm going to find that out is by using them. So let me know if you've got a system that works beautifully, because I'm always on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.